Hello, my name is Billy Jones. I'm a proud member of the South Florida Writers Association. We are a special organization that celebrates the talents of new and emerging and as well as traditional and well-published authors. We bring you to our October 2020 Authors Showcase Series, a virtual experience. This experience is an opportunity to highlight some of our most talented writers in our association. And this month, I have the great pleasure of introducing my friend, Zorina Exie. But before we do that, I want to encourage you to visit Zorina's websites and of course to purchase her books at the links that are provided below. And as well as visit the South Florida Writers Organization website where you can learn more about our organization, including our monthly meetings and special activities. With that, I'd like to read the bio of my friend. Serena Frey is poet, writer, and publisher living in Miami, Florida. She's published in Filter.org, Worcester Business Journal, Writing Class Radio, and studying for her MFA at Converse College. Very exciting. And she's done so many talented things. And I've had the distinct pleasure of seeing her perform live at my institution, Broward College. She's also facilitated a number of workshops to our students and faculty. She's also an artist, a spoken word artist, and she's just a prolific independent thinker. With that, I am very privileged to introduce Serena Frey. How are you, Serena?
I'm fine, Billy. How are you?
I am excellent. And I turn it over to you, and I will be your resource behind the scenes.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you for adding to my bio. It was only one sentence, but thank you. Thank you for all of the work that you're doing to make this virtual event look good. I want to thank the president of the South Florida Writers Association, Beverly Malaysia Haig, and I'd also like to thank Rocio Vargas Herrera for leading the charge. And also, I'd like to thank Books and Books for partnering with the South Florida Writers Association. And lastly, but not least, thank you to the South Florida Writers Association members for all of your support. And if you're a writer who lives in the South Florida area, look us up. It's a great group. So we are here today to talk about my book, my trilogy book entitled Thecla Dark Romance. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. I know I have a lot to say. Well, before we play this trailer, I do want to say that I originally wrote this book in 2014. And it was originally just one book of 400 pages. And it got good reviews, but a lot of people did not want to commit to a 400-page read. So years later, I decided to rewrite it as a trilogy so that it's easier to sink your teeth into. And so we're going to go ahead and play the original trailer for this book. Go ahead. In a broken world of charred ruins, innocence still remains. One man spoke to her body. The other spoke to her soul. All are at war. So we can move to the next slide. Now that trailer didn't have any words to it. It was just, it didn't have a voiceover to it. It was just music. And so I want you guys to stay tuned because near the end of this presentation, we're going to present the 2020 trailer of the trilogy. So what is this book about? What is this trilogy about? Well, the synopsis is a woman is held instructive to train an army of ragtag soldiers. But I know you want to know more, so let's go ahead and move to the other slide. We'll talk a little bit more about what this book is about. So after losing her parents and surviving the reckoning, a catastrophic earthquake that nearly destroyed all of North America, young Thecla survived on her own and the remains of the destruction known as the wastelands against all odds. 7 years later, now a fierce, self-trained warrior and hunter-gatherer, Thecla is suddenly introduced into a new order of civilization known as Carpathia, a pious community where the prominent Bishop Cato governs. Next slide, please. Now there, she discovers Throne, a friend she thought was another lone survivor. As bishops, Cato's general living another life full of resources, looked upon as an unclean savage living in the wastelands. Thecla is held prisoner in Carpathia as Bishop believes her survival skills could be useful to his army called the Fraternity. Now, Thecla quickly discovers that Bishop Cato's religious order isn't as holy as all of Carpathia has been led to believe. Betrayed, heartbroken, and rejected, Thecla turns to Quintus, the soldier who brought her in from the wastelands. She soon learns that his friendship comes at a price, along with some hard truths about Carpathia's double standards. She also learns that her survival skills and instincts that kept her alive in the brutal, wild, and untamed wastelands is no match for her new life in Carpathia. Next slide, please. So, before I read an excerpt from the book, I want you guys to know these characters as I've come to know and love them. I fall in love with all of them, even the villains. It's just I love these guys. So we're gonna meet the main characters in this book, so that you'll know exactly who I'm talking about as I read, and just get a feel for who, just the type of person that they are. So let's move on and with the introductions. Of course, Thecla. Now, she is a self-trained warrior, hunter-gatherer, survivor. She's our hero. And after losing her parents in the reckoning, Thecla was left on her own to survive in the wastelands. Concerned that her only friend, Throne, had not come to camp from his weeks and sometimes months of scavenging, Thecla's hopes rise when Quintus finds her and promises that he can take her to Throne. The moment Thecla enters the gates of Carpathia, she will not be the same. Now, her tagline is, I do whatever the hell I want, when I want. Now, if that is not a hero, I do not know what is. I'm just saying. Next slide, please. I love her. I just love her. This dude, Quintus. You guys, he is second in command of Carpathia's fraternity army. He is a fierce warrior who, like the rest of the fraternity, view Bishop as a father. Quintus is loyal to Bishop and everything Carpathia stands for, but he's cocky and a bit envious of Throne's position in the fraternity. He makes up for this by using his high-ranking status to get whatever he wants, which is usually women. When he discovers that Throne has been keeping his visits to Thecla in the wasteland a secret, he realizes that he finally has an advantage over his general. Now, who is Throne? Let's go and move to the next slide. I didn't say his tagline, but it's fine. He said something like, oh, Thecla is a weapon. That's what he said, if you didn't read that already. So Throne, General Throne, first in command of Carpathia's fraternity army under Bishop Cato's rule. Throne is a strong man of faith and does his part to uphold Bishop's doctrine with humility. He is extremely loyal to Bishop, but he has one secret. In his earlier expeditions of the wastelands to survey the damage the reckoning had done, Throne happens on to Thecla. Instead of bringing her into the Carpathian fold, Throne keeps her at bay and continues to visit her with supplies whenever he can. He is shocked to discover that Quintus has found her and brought her to Bishop Cato. And his tagline is, I told you not to trust anyone, or no, anybody. Next slide, please. And of course, Bishop Cato, endearingly referred to as Bishop. He's the founder of Carpathia and rules it with an iron fist. He is extremely religious and truly believes that the reckoning is punishment for the sins of their country. Bishop has taken it upon himself to rebuild North America. The doctrine he preaches is that the wastelands represents the country's dirty past, that it's a dangerous, barren, no man's land, that nothing good can ever come from it, and Carpathia is the future. When he meets Thecla and sees that she was able to survive the wastelands on her own, Bishop is willing to amend his doctrine for the greater good of Carpathia. In Bishop's words, you do understand why the world has come to these ruins, why practically everything has been burned down. Let me tell you something. I wrote this in 2014, so that's kind of freaky. That's all I'm saying. Next slide, please. Woo, Amir, this girl, she is Bishop Cato's daughter. She's the heir of Carpathia and a warrior in her own right, but not as skilled as Thecla. Despite her post-apocalyptic existence, Amir is spoiled and entitled with a self-righteous attitude that shadows any humility and well-being toward Carpathian citizens. She sees them as her subjects rather than her equal. She has Bishop wrapped around her fingers and is determined to be worshiped and adored like her father. She also wishes to be every man's desire. And Thecla's presence threatens all of this. And her tagline, snap her neck, please. Snap her neck. Next slide, please. So, just to recap. So, book 1 is entitled Thecla Dark Romance, and book 2 is entitled Govern, and book 3 is Governess. So these are books that you need to read in order. So you'll see on the cover that it actually says book 1, book 2, book 3. So it's something you definitely want to read in order and get them all at once. They'll make a great gift. And I mean, look, you'll like them too. I'm just saying, you will love it. I'm so excited for you guys. So next slide, please. All right. So now it's time to read from Thecla Dark Romance Book 1. And while I'm getting the book together, you can buy this book on Amazon. You can also get it on barnesandnoble.com, and you can also get it at Books and Books. And I just encourage you all to support independent bookstores. Books and Books is a chain of independent bookstores in the South Florida area. You can go online and order this book as well. You can also, while you're online, you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My handle is at Zorina Exie, ZORINAEXIE, and you can also visit my website at zorinafrey.com. And all that's going to be on the at the bottom of this presentation, as Billy had said. So we're going to start with chapter 1. I kicked him in the face when I first saw him. Now seeing him perched at the right hand of this man, this dictator they worship, Bishop Cato they call him, all adorned in the finest sheepskin and whatever other animal he was wearing, made me want to kick him right off his man-made pedestal. I found her in the upper wastelands, scared, cold, and hungry, my captor said. I cut my eye toward my captor. I wasn't cold, hungry, or scared. I only let him bring me here because I knew he'd take me to him. And that he did. I had no idea he had been living in such plush conditions. I had no idea this much civilization was left. I heard prophecies in church about the reckoning and even on television about how nothing but dust and ruins would be left, but that wasn't so. Clearly, there had been destruction, but from what I'd seen thus far, my friend and his people seemed to have done a nice job rebuilding under a new order. There I stood in the hall before Bishop, feeling as if I needed permission to breathe. It made me sick. What was described as the hall was really an old library. It was dimly lit with what looked like handmade candlesticks. The walls were mounted from floor to ceiling with shelves of books. Some had been saved from the fires. Others were charred periodicals and other types of publications. The standalone bookshelves that used to fill the interior of the library had all been replaced by 2 rows of empty pews. The first 2 on the right were reserved for privileged citizens, I imagine, with a 1-foot plank built in the upper back that served as some sort of table for the next row of pews behind it. In the aisle between the 2 rows of the pews was a tattered crimson rug that ran from the entrance to where I now stood. "Untie her, Quintus," Bishop Cato ordered. Quintus immediately complied. I rubbed my wrist. "I didn't mean to tie them so tight," he apologized. I remained silent and looked at Throne, who continued to pretend as if he never seen me before. Quintus followed my eyes. His grew dark. He took his position beside me as his prize, as both of us faced Cato, waiting like obedient puppies for him to either pet us or send us on our way. "Your name, girl," Cato ordered. I didn't like his tone. I'll stop there. We'll go to the next slide. So, why did I write this book? Why did I write Thecla Dark Romance, and what was my inspiration? I wanted to address the hypocrisy in religious institutions. And I also wanted to address the mental battle that a woman can have with herself when it comes to love and lust. I wanted to address the nasty competition that women get into over a guy. And I wanted to address the loyalty of brotherhood and how boundaries are set when it comes to women as if they are property. I wanted to address how deep a love can be without being physical. How women and men can be so desperate for a parental figure that they will blindly follow and stay loyal to a fault. Most importantly, well, I don't know if it's most importantly, but it was very fun for me. I wanted to address how dark and delicious and toxic a dysfunctional relationship can be. Next slide. So with that, it's time to present the new Thecla Trilogy 2020 trailer. Take it away.
After the reckoning, young Thecla survived on her own in the remains of the destruction known as the wastelands. Now, a fiercely self-trained warrior and hunter-gatherer, Thecla is suddenly introduced into a new order of civilization known as Carpathia. Thecla quickly discovers that her survival skills and instincts that kept her alive in the brutal, wild, and untamed wastelands is no match for a new life in Carpathia. The trilogy by Zorina Exie. Thecla Dark Romance.
Woo! I love how the narrator says a dark romance. It's not dark, it's dark. I just love it. So to recap, book 1 is Thecla Dark Romance. Book 2 is Govern, and book 3 is Governess. This book has received 5 stars on Amazon. It's received great ratings on Reader's Favorite, and I think that you will enjoy this book. It is also on Kindle as well. So you can get this book on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, barnesandnoble.com, and Books and Books. So let's move on to the next slide. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So I'm so excited to talk about this new venture. I believe in the story so much that I was thinking of other ways that I can get this out, because not everyone likes to read, right? So eventually I will write a screenplay on this. But when Florida Con came to Miami Beach, I took it upon myself to check it out and see what I can do about making Thecla a comic. And I went there looking for artists, and I found none because they were already commissioned to like Marvel and other well-known comic publications. And as a publisher, I publish poetry, I publish how-to books, but the world of comics is new to me. So this entire convention was just great. Everyone there was great. The whole comic scene, everyone's very helpful. They pointed me in the right direction. Shout out to Cool as Heck. There's a comic, like there's a artist name. He changed his name to Cool as Heck. So, and he's been very helpful. So shout out to him. But I actually found my artist at the Miami Book Festival in artist and on the author's row, and that's where all the independent artists are. And her name is Alexandra Garcia, and we kind of we got along pretty well, and started talking about how we can make this happen. And so I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of what the Thecla comic will look like. Next slide, please. So this is just a mock-up of what the comic will look like. As you can see, there's different versions of her according to the shading and how granular the comic is going to be. Is it going to be like more cartoonish? So I did make my decision, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. But just so you can see just what the feel of the comic is going to look like. So I am very excited about that. And if you are interested in looking at the artist's other works, then you can look her up. Her website is right there, aquaticalex.com. So shout out to her as well. So that is I think that's it. That concludes this presentation. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. Just a recap, you can get this trilogy on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, Books and Books. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ZorinaExie.com, or go to my website, ZorinaFrey.com, or Serena Frey. I'll answer to either one. So thank you so much. And be sure to leave a review on Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you, Zorina. And thank you, viewers, for watching this October 2020 segment of A Virtual Showcase. On behalf of South Florida Writers Association, I thank you for being here with us today. And we encourage you to check out previous videos that have been archived on our YouTube channel at South Florida Writers Association. You can also visit southfloridawriters.org to view our latest activities and events, including our monthly event schedule and our writing contests. And this very video will also be there, and we'll be featuring other artists as well. Until then, take care, and thank you for your time.
Bye.